That is what's known as a chain gang. Men in prison are still used as cheap labor today. Despite calls to end the practice, they just save states and municipalities too much money. Unless the people of the area are willing to pay higher taxes for the services their governments provide, the practice is likely to continue in perpetuity.
Martin, let's get him back in the bus before we all get fried out here.
That's what's known as a thunderstorm. If that white stuff touches you, you find yourself wishing it hadn't.
Take it easy, Hix. Just move.
That's what's known as trouble. It's not hard to suss out what's going through his head. To be honest, the first time I saw his face, I thought that was Barry doing something undercover. The initial resemblance is kind of startling. Your shotgun doesn't have that kind of range, my friend. The other guard is dead. They have to get on the radio and report that Nyx has escaped. Nyx was the Greek goddess of the night. She was in prison for doing inappropriate things to the moon and... what? Different spelling. Why doesn't anybody tell me these things before filming time?
Always did love your corned beef and cabbage.
So I gathered. Your knife and fork were a blur during dinner.
I've seen sharks eat slower and less.
Just a growing boy.
Why don't you go watch TV? I'll clean up in here.
No, Mom, leave it to me. You and Dad go on in. I will be there in a minute. Put that down. All right.
We get to watch him clear the table, wash and dry the dishes, and arrange the table just so it's super speed. In the living room, his parents are having a disagreement about what to watch. She wants a movie, he wants sports.
Okay. The Babe Ruth story, Channel 14.
That's how people who probably got married in the 50s compromise. Henry answers a phone call, but he probably wishes he hadn't.
I'm here, old man.
Who is this?
You thought you put me away for good? I'm back.
Yeah, what do you want?
My due. You've got an outstanding debt. I'm back to collect it. You're gonna die, old man.
In his usual tough, macho way, he won't tell anybody. He'll just start acting weird and nervous and let everybody around him guess why. Nyx has a fawning little yes-man named Danny who's still terrified of him after 19 years. His bar was the first place Nyx went to put a team together to kill Henry. Henry and his partner Pete Danello busted Nyx and sent him to prison. He had stolen close to $600,000 from a bank. Pete busted his partner and Henry chased Nyx for 3 blocks before he finally nabbed him. But when he did, the money was nowhere to be found. Now he's back and he's looking for it. He knows the place where he stashed it, but the place isn't there anymore.
Hey!
I need money. Look at me.
Yeah, sure, Johnny. Take as much as you want. There's gonna be plenty soon, right?
Yeah, if you make sure you find my houses.
Straight, Johnny. I got it from one of the guys who moved. They're all on the storage lot, north side of town.
The neighborhood where Henry tackled him is being developed into condos or something, and the houses that were there have been moved. The houses had all been boarded up for years, so I don't know why they weren't just torn down, but that would mean either somebody else found the money and retired young, or it's in a landfill somewhere. Either way, it would mess up the story, so they moved the houses instead.
But muscle gonna need lots of muscle.
Already talked to 3. 2 all good guys. They can keep their mouths shut.
He's also found a shooter named Gruber.
Bro, the man says you got guns, is that right?
For sale. All you ever want.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Well, I suppose a man with that many guns knows how to use them.
you got that right, pal.
Bang.
His next job was playing anybody's in West Side Story. He excelled at the pow-pow scenes. Henry is paying a visit to his old partner, who now enjoys doing yard work and growing flowers.
Leg acting up?
Every now and again.
I've been thinking about when that happened.
Yeah, not a day that I don't think about that miserable piece of work.
Johnny Ray Hix.
Look on the upside. The leg got me transferred to a cushy desk in records. And besides, you got Hicks. Got him good.
He's out, Pete. And he's in town.
What?
Broke away from a road gang the day of that storm.
That was Hicks?
Called me. Said he was gonna kill me.
His plan? The old team hits the streets and busts him again. Pete is essentially saying, you gotta be kidding. Look at us, we're both old duffers. The street is way behind us. But Henry can be persuasive, so Alan and Donella will be a thing again. And his name is Hix. It really sounded like they were saying Nix. I stand corrected. Nix would mean he belongs to Nick, but I guess Nick didn't want him and handed him over to some hick.
All he seems to want to do lately is talk to his old pals in the force or listen to the police band radio.
Picture's crooked. For your information, I'm fine.
Well, yeah, we were just wondering if maybe you were a little bored. Sort of. I mean, now that you're no longer on the force.
Oh, I suppose, little. Not much going on nowadays.
And they'd better hurry before an attack like that connects. Barry sees the car driving away. As quick as he knows his parents are all right, he's after it. No, it's not remote controlled. The guy driving it must have bailed out before Barry caught up with the car. It was stolen, no prints, the usual. Nora is going out of town to stay with her sister until this is resolved. Henry is refusing to go with her, so Barry says he'll stay with me. Hicks doesn't know where I live, so he'll be safe.
This is my house. It's where I grew up. How much time you got here?
Like an hour or two?
Stay with my dad till I get back, all right? Tell him I'll pick him up here and take him back to my apartment. Get something to eat later.
Wait, aren't you going out with Tina?
That's right. I'll figure out something. Gotta run.
Where are you going?
Hunting.
This is getting to Barry like nothing else can. I understand him. You want to come after me? I can take care of myself. Bring it on. Mess with my family? I may violate some of my Christian principles. Barry is the same way, even though his dad is still taking nasty pot shots at the fact that he's a lab cop and not a street cop. Barry will lay down his life for both of his parents. You don't screw with a man's family. As my dad used to say, it can make knots on your head. The Flash shakes down some street punks who used to know Hicks, but none of them have seen him since he went away. The evening is pretty much of a bust. But I think I know why. Hicks took a job at the gas company.
What can I say? I got my orders. If the man says to check the gas main under this lot, well, buddy, that's what I gotta do.
I don't know. I didn't get a work order on this.
Listen to me, the main has got a leak. If it blows, this lot's gonna be spread across the whole county. But if it makes you feel better, waste more time. Go ahead, call it in.
No, that's okay. You guys do your job. I got the weekend off anyway.
That's the lot where they took all those houses. Now he just has to find the right one. That'll take a while because they weren't deposited here in the address order, and they all kind of look alike. He stashed the money in a space behind an exterior wall, so they'll just have to check all of them.
I was telling you that Tina is the doctor who treated me after my accident.
Doctor, huh? What kind?
Well, I'm an MD, of course. But most of my work recently has been fairly varied. Research in paragenetic enhancement, experimental anthropobionics, subnucleic biochemistry, that sort of thing.
What the hell language was that?
Dad!
It is a bit of a mouthful, isn't it?
See, even she admits it.
That's scholarese, a dialect that consists entirely of multiverbal circumlocutions and polysyllabic sentence units. I used to be fluent in it, but it may have slipped a little since I haven't had anybody to speak it with for a long time.
Careful, that's hydrochloric acid.
I wasn't gonna drink it.
Seems to me you've drunk worse in your day.
Hey, Pete! Hey, Pete, you remember my son, Barry?
Oh, sure do. How are you, son?
Fine, Mr. Dinello. I'd like you to meet my colleague, Julio Mendez. Julio, Mr. Dinello.
Just Pete.
Pete has a line on Danny, but he has to tell him on the sly because Barry has Henry on a pretty tight leash.
Barry, Pete and I are gonna go downstairs and get a cup of coffee.
Yeah, okay. Don't leave the building, all right?
Yes, sir.
If Barry believes him, he's not paying attention.
Just drop me off.
I don't know, Henry. Maybe I should go in with you.
I'll be okay. I know that drill. Besides, this one's all mine.
Damn it! Well, what's the matter? My father. That's what's the matter.
As I said. And as we heard, Henry's going in alone.
You took a wrong turn, Dad. Legion Hall's around the corner.
Duffy! Duffy, I'm talking to you. I want Hicks.
Can't hear you, man.
Hear me now? I'm looking for Hicks, damn it!
Not the smartest thing he's done all day, and he's not exactly in a strong position to make demands. Now, kick Danny in the danglies, the guy on the right, you stomp on his foot, and when he lets go, you throw a roundhouse right on the other guy. Presto changeo, you're loose. Henry's too busy staring at that baseball bat to come up with ideas like those.
Can anyone get in this game?
God, it's him. He's real.
Get down!
Low life in the corner pocket. You'd think after the first couple he'd catch on, but I'm not sure he's figured it out yet. Take him down with one of the cues and let's go talk to Danny.
Where's Hicks?
I haven't seen Hicks.
He's lying!
If you are, I'm gonna put you behind the 8 ball.
Danny, I suggest you cooperate. Former Sergeant Allen seems to have some powerful backup.
Barry! Did you see him? The Flash guy! He exists! Where'd you come from?
Me? I followed you here from the lab. Now, come on. You promised me you wouldn't leave the building. I gotta get you out of here.
Yeah, but this guy is something. If we had a half a dozen like him in a force, there wouldn't be a criminal left in this whole city.
Former Sergeant Allen also has a minder who's not too happy with him right now. Meanwhile, Pete has figured out where Hicks must have stashed the money.
Yeah. 3 blocks. Henry chased you 3 full blocks. Here's the only place you could have dumped it. One of those boarded-up homes that they moved outside of town.
How has nobody else figured this out in 20 years? Considering the amount of money involved, I'd think they had cryptographers at the NSA working on it.
You always were the smart one, Dinello. 570,000 big ones.
It's tragedy time. Pete can't escape him, and for reasons I can't figure out, he won't even try to fight him. I figure I know why he's here, so I may as well give it a try and go down swinging. And you never know, he could have a glass jaw. Hix found something in Pete's effects that told him Henry is staying with Barry.
Found this under the lawn chair. Thought you might want to hold on to it.
Hicks's file. So he and Dad, they just couldn't let go.
In Dad's case, that's not an option since Hix is coming after him. The best thing he could do is put himself in protective custody, but he thinks that's unmanly. Letting Hix give him a horrible end is much more macho.
Never should have dragged Pete into this. He was right. A couple old men can't go back out on the street. I killed him, Barry.
No, Hix killed him, and since you two were partners, he probably would have done it anyway. But Henry loves his guilt trips. He gives them to himself all the time. Still, this is a big one. He's in the deepest depression anybody ever saw.
Look, see, these are shots of the mud around Pete's garden. Now, the ground was still soft when we took these, so I think we may get some interesting prints from this.
Okay, Barry. According to the size of the wound and the shape of the blade, the weapon that killed Mr. Dinello is a hunting knife.
All right, that's something. We can have the homicide boys check the surplus stores for purchases.
Yeah.
Barry is trying his best to show his dad how his work is essential for an effective police force, but it's going over his head. Granted, that doesn't take much effort because he's never tried to take a real interest in Barry's job, but still.
I don't believe this.
Why? We've got a good solid lead here.
Who cares what kind of knife killed Petey dead? That's what matters.
He throws a tantrum and breaks a flask. Barry has had enough.
Did you ever, for one single minute, stop and think that I might get a little sick and tired of your endless criticism of me and my work? I am doing the best I know how here.
And you're not getting a step closer to Hix.
You don't know that. This is why a lead is something you follow, not an end in itself.
Well, what am I supposed to do, huh? You seem to know, so clue me in here. What should I do?
You get out in the streets. You turn the town upside down looking for Hix. If you can't find him, you find somebody that knows him. And you kick his butt. And you keep kicking till he tells you what you want to know.
In the first episode, we established that they made Barry promise not to be a street cop like that, so Henry needs to make up his mind. Barry out on the front line. Yes or no?
Is that all being a cop means to you? Turning on a siren and pulling a gun? Law enforcement has made a few advances in the last 25 years, you know.
I knew how to do good police work, but you...
Go ahead, Henry, say it. You've been wanting to for years. Say the word that's been on the tip of your tongue ever since he went into lab work. Failure. Man up and say it.
And I don't.
Look, Barry.
Just drop it.
That approach is why this has dragged on for so long. I think Henry just realized it.
Barry, maybe we dropped it too long. Let's take a walk, son.
Henry is what he is. He was never the intellectual. He's always been the straight-ahead, take-him-down cop. He has problems with what Barry does simply because he doesn't understand it.
But you know, when Jay went through the academy and became an officer, well, I knew what he was doing every day. You know, how he thought, what he was up to. I always understood your brother, Barry. But as much as I love Jay, I never loved you any less.
That's something Barry never understood. Love isn't a pie. More for Jay doesn't mean less for Barry. Each of us has an unlimited supply that we can tap into when we need to or want to. Ideally, that should be all the time, but one does need to sleep occasionally.
You, Barry, you were different. I mean, you're smart, you know, reading all the time. Hell, you were the first Allen to go all through college. And now look at you, a scientist, doing things I can't imagine. I don't even understand. Do you know what I'm trying to say, Barry?
Yeah, I think so, Dad.
He's trying to say he's overawed at what you do. He pokes it with a stick because he feels a little inferior to you. But he's proud of you and he loves you. Barry has to work late, so Henry's hanging out with Earl.
With salt and egg yolk until they are golden brown. Naturally, a very good side dish.
What's the matter, Phil?
He's upset because he can't believe Julia Child is using egg yolks like that. Oh yeah, that too. 41 years of police work are kicking in.
You took my life, Alan! Now I'm gonna take yours. 20 lousy years. That's a bad place to grow up, Alan. Are you listening to me, old man?
If you ever say something, maybe he'll listen. But if you're expecting him to answer and give himself away, you're not the brightest candle in the chandelier.
I want you to hear this. After I kill you, I'm gonna kill your son. No more Alan cops!
Once again, I have to say, you don't mess with a man's family. Paul Koslow is genuinely terrifying in this role, but that should come as no surprise. Throughout the 70s, he made his reputation playing characters like Hix. We've seen him once in Misfits of Science, and we'll see him again multiple times in some upcoming shows. Which ones? There's one way to find out.
That was close, Johnny Ray. I thought he was gonna nail you. Shut up! You just make sure you nail him.
Henry may not have realized there were two of them. He does now. Gruber is in jail and Henry is in the hospital. Gruber's shot went wide and Henry only took a few pellets to the shoulder. But even though we saw him land on his other shoulder, they said he hit his head when he fell and sustained a concussion. That's why he was unconscious. Barry needs to blow off some steam. There was no way I could cut that. It'd be cruel. Now that he's a little calmer, he'll go to work.
I want a damn lawyer! Can you hear me out there? A lawyer!
Pipe down in there.
You're entitled to a lawyer before any questioning. I don't see anybody asking any questions.
This whole thing's a setup!
Work, too. What? You're in here. Hix is a free man.
He set you up to be the trigger man and the fall guy. And friend, you done falled.
Hey, help me! Somebody's in here!
Call them! And when they come, I'll be gone. But then I'll just come back. Where's Hix?
Please, man. I don't know anything about him. Just some guy I met at Danny's. Said he'd pay me big bucks, 10 grand, if I do a trigger for him.
How does Hix have money like that?
I don't know, man. I swear.
If I'm Gruber, I'm telling the gentleman anything he wants to know, and if I don't know it, I might make something up just to keep him from turning my face upside down. But now Barry has a new question to pursue.
Who's bankrolling him? It doesn't make sense that he could offer Gruber $10,000.
Maybe he knocked off another bank. He was always good at that.
The bank robbery. The missing money, that's it. It's gotta be. He's still going after the money all these years, and Pete figured it out. I wonder what this old city map was for.
Now, Henry, let him give you a little lesson in his kind of police work.
Now, see where Pete marked it? What is that?
That's 5th and McCullum. Boarded up houses, been there for years.
Not anymore. The whole block's under construction. The houses have been moved out for relocation. So Hix is having trouble getting to his money, huh? We got him. For the first time in this whole lousy deal, we know where he is.
But Henry doesn't seem too enthused. He says, I let him shoot up our house, got Pete killed, call it in and have the uniforms pick him up. Barry says, after all this happened, we should be there.
Who the hell do I think I am? Too old for any of this. What are you doing?
Going after him.
No, Barry.
You may be too old, but he's not. Since you're just a decrepit old fart with no skills left, somebody has to get justice for the Allen family, so he's it. What you gonna do about it?
You're right about Hix. The grief he's brought us, I'm gonna bring him in.
I'm not letting you go out there alone.
Then come with me.
All right, son. Let's end it now.
Right answer. Out at the place, Hix and crew have found the right house.
There it is! Wow! Got it! We got company.
Wild Bill said more than once that the guy who takes that extra split second to aim is the one who will walk away from the gunfight.
Let's separate.
What? Barry needs to change to the Flash, so we had to get them in different places somehow. The Allen boys agree that there's 3 left. Make that 2 left. He don't need no stinking Flash. But one of them is being rather belligerent. He tried to tell both the International Track and Field Organization and the Olympic Committee that he set a world record for the pole vault, but since the only witness was one criminal with a big bump on his head, his claim was rejected.
Hix! Come on, Hix! How's it feel? Somebody coming after you! Come on, old man! Come and get us!
This isn't Lethal Weapon 3. That won't work. Step aside, duck under it, climb into it. There's no rule that says you have to just stand there. I checked. It's been a while since I had to ask this, but why do they always go up?
I got him!
Because not only is going up almost always a dead end, what goes up must come down. And sometimes they make that real easy.
The porch must have been rotted out.
That's not the only thing. Money must have been stored next to a water pipe. I called in. Cars are on the way. I'm gonna go check on the one I wounded.
After all that, there wasn't even any money. That's one tough bag, though. I'd hang on to it.
Okay, Hix.
How could he not see that Hix wasn't there? What was he talking to?
Barry! Barry! Get up! Barry! Barry! It's over! It's over! He's beaten!
Barry just experienced Luxon hyper rage. He's having a hard time believing he snapped like that.
That was a brave thing you did out there, taking on Hix. That was brave and dangerous.
Yeah, but you know, while I was doing it, I feel like I could have killed him.
Yeah, I know. Felt that way 1,000 times when I was on duty. Part of being a cop. Gotta do your job and keep your feelings in.
This is how Henry can support Barry as a policeman, share the wisdom, impart what he's learned about people, about balancing his life, about what's really important. He has a long lifetime of experience that Barry needs to draw from. Maybe after this escapade, they'll learn to talk to each other, not at each other.
What I'm trying to say, Barry, is you are a cop, and a good one. You may be different than I was, or Jay. Ah, hell. Now, this is easy for a dumb old Irishman.
Sounds great to me.
I think this is the most intensely personal episode of any show I've reviewed so far. The writing is superb. The dialogue is perfect, and it's delivered with heart-wrenching skill. You can feel what they're feeling, and that includes Hix. Well, you could feel what he was feeling right up until Barry got hold of him. Then he didn't feel much of anything for a while.
Hey friends, I hope you're enjoying my look at The Flash. If you like it, remember to subscribe if you haven't already. If you really like it, consider becoming a patron. $2 a month gets you extra content like Hogan's Heroes and It's About Time. $5 a month gets you that and more, so take a look. The link is down there in the description. I also do lots of other stuff, so take a moment to look it over. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Nix would be... Hix wasn't there.